it's Sam. So today I am going to be doing a foundation review. It's a drugstore foundation of the NYX Total Control Drop Foundation. So I recently picked these up at Ulta. I believe they were $14 each. I know the foundation is $14. I'm pretty sure the primer is around the same price. I will leave the prices as well as the links down below so that you guys can check it out for yourselves. So this is what the actual packaging looks like. So the primer is also a drop kind of like primer. It's called the Total Control Drop Primer. Today I'm going to be trying both of these out, and I'm actually doing the primer, wait, which one is primer? The primer on one side of my face, and then the other side I have nothing on but my moisturizer, just to see if the primer does make a difference, because I want to let you guys know if it's worth getting that, spending that extra money to get the primer, because it wasn't cheap in my opinion for drugstore. It's definitely a little bit higher on the kind of price point as far as drugstore goes. I am also doing this in a collaboration with my friend Cassie. So Cassie also is going to be doing, she got the primer as well. So we're both going to be testing these out, and it's going to be really helpful because I have acne prone, problematic, oily, textured skin. So I have a lot of stuff going on. Plus I have pigmentation, I need full coverage. So I am on the kind of like, you know, problematic trouble skin, whereas Cassie has like a pretty much normal skin type. She is a little oily in her T-zone. She doesn't have a whole lot to cover. She has redness, but she has really beautiful skin naturally. She has no texture. Her skin is really baby smooth. She does not have acne. She does not have scarring. She literally just has really nice skin. So it's going to be interesting to see how she likes it, because we're both going to be doing a wear test, versus how I like it throughout the day, because we have two very different skin types. So we thought it'd be really helpful for you guys to see what it is like on normal skin versus what it is like on oily, problematic skin. So the color that I have in the foundation is TCDF10. Who's gonna remember that? Like in a tutorial and you're like, oh yeah, this is, hold on, let me look it up. Like I know my colors in my other foundations because they're easy. It's 5.5 or 3W1, tawny. Like it's super easy. TCDF, I've already forgotten, TCDF10. It's kind of weird how they've named it, so I don't really like the names of the colors. I think that's a little confusing. So this is what the actual packaging looks like. They come in like a little, almost like a little medicine dropper. It's that kind of like frosted glass base, and then you have the little squishy quick, and then it just screws off like this, and then it literally looks like a little dropper of medicine, and then it's very liquidy, as you guys can see. It's like a straight up liquidy formula. Ding! This is kind of like more of a kind of creamy, almost like pinky color, but again, very liquidy. It says not to crime is a prime when it comes to this comfortably soft primer. It delivers a matte finish that's smoother than smooth and preps your complexion for foundation application. This weightless formula blends seamlessly into your skin and leaves your face feeling totally plush. Pairs beautifully with our Total Control Drop Foundation for a natural looking matte finish. And the foundation says, with just a few drops, our Total Control Drop Foundation delivers sheer to full coverage and a velvety matte finish. Simply adjust the number of drops you use until the desired level of coverage is achieved. More drops equals more coverage. So they are saying for the primer, I think it's just saying that you just need one drop. You really don't need much. It goes a really long way. But back of the box here shows that you need 2 drops for sheer coverage, 3 drops for medium coverage, and 4 drops for full coverage. Now that I'm looking at this, I said it later on in the video that I don't know if it's like the whole tube or a drop. 4 drops is not accurate. If you need full coverage, there's no way 4 drops could give you full coverage, unless you're using it with a brush, possibly, because I feel like the Beauty Blender does soak this foundation up because it is such a liquidy formula. So that could be why I had to use so much more foundation for full coverage, because 4 drops would literally have covered maybe my forehead. Like there's just no way I could have got my full face full coverage with 4 drops. So keep that in mind. If you normally use a beauty sponge and you don't like using brushes, you're definitely not going to need 4 drops. You're going to need a lot more than 4 drops. I think Cassie is applying one side of her face with a brush and then one side with a sponge. So if you are someone who likes a brush, then that would be really helpful for you. I hate brushes for some reason. I used to use them all the time, but I really don't like the way brushes apply on my textured skin. It just does not look good. So I always use a sponge, and so that's how I applied this foundation. I always like to try out new foundations with the normal technique that I always use for my regular foundation. That way I can compare to my normal foundation how it really works. That's why I did half my side with a primer that I don't normally use, which is this one, and then half side with nothing, because normally I don't use a primer at all. I just use my moisturizer and then I just go straight on into it. I really wanted to just put it to the true test. How does this hold up with my normal regular routine, just switching out the foundation and then in this case the primer, but I used my normal sponge. This is an SL Miss Glam beauty sponge. It's my favorite. I use it every single time I apply my makeup. So that's why I wanted to use it for this video as well, to see exactly how this applies. So I'm going to be doing a wear test of this. I'm also going to be doing a demo. So in the next clip, you're going to see me applying this. You're going to hear my thoughts, exactly what it goes on like, what it blends like, the color. I feel like the color choice is really good, and I straight up, like, I like to say that right off the bat, that this is the color I'm wearing. That way, if you are similar coloring to me, then you know what color to get, because there's a lot to choose from. I think there's 30 shades altogether. So that was a bit of a struggle trying to find the match, and I think I actually got this foundation when I was super self-tanned, and it was definitely, I'm glad that I faded, because it would have been way too light for me if I had my normal self-tanner on. So I'm actually on like day 4 or 5 of self-tanners, so I'm pretty pale. It's almost all gone, and this matched me really, really well. I mean, I think it blends in really well to my skin. So if you are normally a self-tanner, but then you're always on like your, you know, it doesn't last very long, so like 5 days usually I'm done. I'm still a little bit self-tan, but I'm not fully self-tan, but I'm not also fully my pale self. So it matches really well if you're kind of like in between those two, or if you're just naturally this shade, then I think this would work for you perfectly. So now we're gonna go ahead and get into the demo. I will leave Cassie's channel as well as the video to her foundation review as well in the description box, so that you guys can go and watch her after you have watched this, so that you guys can see how she likes the foundation. She will also be doing a wear test and a demo. Also, I'm gonna say right off the bat, my skin does look really pretty right now. Like, I'm happy with how it looks at the moment. I think it's beautiful. It's very natural, kind of like skin-like finish. It's covered everything I need to cover. I was surprised. I didn't have high hopes for this foundation because I really didn't think it was gonna have enough coverage that I need to cover all of the issues that I have in my life. But so far, I'm actually really happy. Like, I was definitely surprised by this. The true test though is to see how it wears. When you have oily skin, something will look great, and then all of a sudden 3 hours down the road, you're like, oh my God, I look terrible. I can't believe I was out in public like this. So let's hope that it looks decent. Huge thanks to Cassie for doing this video with me, my sweet friend. Okay guys, let's go ahead and get on to the demo. Okay, so I'm gonna do the primer on half of my face, and then the other half do nothing, because I really wanna see, because normally I just use my moisturizer as my primer lately, and so I want to see how it works like I normally do it versus with the primer. So on this side of my face I'm going to put the primer, and on that side of the face I'm going to just leave it. So this is what the little primer looks like. So as you can see, it's just like in a nice little droplet. The bottle is clear, or glass. Oh, so it's quite liquidy, and it comes out like a kind of creamy, kind of like a creamy pink color. So I'm just going to rub that onto this side of my face. It definitely feels a bit kind of like silky oily, which I don't know if I like that. We shall see. I feel like it feels really oily, but I'm interested to see like if one side will look way smoother, but it definitely does feel really oily to me. So that right off the bat does not make me feel super happy because I don't need any extra oil. Okay, so that side of my face is done. Now, I bought this foundation when I was like freshly self-tanned. Now that I'm like going to do this video, I'm like, cool, you could have like put your self-tanner on. So I'm actually quite pale at the moment. It's definitely not gonna match me. I'm just gonna warn you right off the bat, but we're just gonna have to bring it down the neck and make it work. That's what scarves are for, my friend. When you're on your like day 4 of self-tanner and it's gone. Actually, we might be okay. Now it feels really liquidy. Like as I'm shaking up the bottle, it feels super liquidy. So 2 drops is sheer, 3 drops is medium, and 4 drops is full coverage. So I'm just gonna start off with 4 drops, and 1, 2, ooh, I don't know what they mean by drop. Is it like that? Okay, well, I don't know if it means a full droplet of the thing. So it's super liquidy, so I gotta work quicker. It's gonna fall off my hand. Okay, so it's really liquidy. This color actually, I'm super glad I'm not fully self-tanned because otherwise it would have been way too light for me. Because it's actually matching, it's a little bit yellower than my skin at the moment, but it's not a terrible match. It seems to be covering pretty well actually. I mean, I can't say the coverage is like major, like you can still see some things peeking through. So that was basically, you saw how much I had, it was like a full droplet and that covered that part of my face. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do another full droplet for the other side. So I do feel like you would end up going through this foundation super fast if you need a full coverage foundation, because I've already gone through 2 full droppers. It's $14, which is like, honestly, I don't know, it's a little pricey for drugstore for a foundation. I always feel like drugstore foundation should be priced less than $10. If it's $8.99 or $10.99, or sorry, $9.99, or even $10.99, I can deal with it. But $14, you're getting up there. You're getting closer to $20, you know? I mean, still technically closer to 10, but it's you know, it's a little higher. I am feeling a very oily kind of residue on this. Feels really like oily on my skin. Okay, I'm gonna do like a half a dropper for my forehead. The coverage is definitely better than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be like super duper sheer because it's so fluid. It's like so liquidy that I was like, oh my god, this is literally gonna cover nothing. So it has surprised me on the coverage, I will say that. I do really like how it blends. I mean, it really just goes into the skin nicely and it just kind of like blends out really quickly. I'm actually liking the side without the primer better. I think this one looks better for some reason. I don't know. That primer just feels so oily. This foundation feels quite oily to me as well. So, oh god, ooh, I hate that feeling. That is one kind of like layer. I'm just gonna go back over the areas where I have a little bit more to hide. So I do really like the fact that you can build this up. You can make it sheer if you want to, but you can also definitely build it up to a full coverage, which is nice that you have, you know, that versatility of it. It is giving me like a very pretty kind of glow to the skin. However, I can feel, without even touching it with my finger, that it definitely feels oily, like to me. Oh gosh, my nose is so dry. I was literally just gonna say it doesn't seem to be picking up any dry spots, and then I look at my nose. That's terrible. My cat is blocking my light right now. Oh my god, I gotta like pluck these dry pieces of skin off. That's so gross. So I moisturized before I did this, and I literally have like this massive patch of dry skin that it's just clinging to that I normally don't see. Yeah, any kind of dry spots or dry patches of skin that you have, it is going to cling to. I'm going to try and get up close. Can you guys see that? I don't even think you're going to be able to. It's like so tiny, but like all on my nose, it's clinging to the dry patches. Everywhere else though looks really nice. Everything that I need to cover is covered, but the dry patches are definitely being clung to super bad. Everything else though looks really good. Like where I don't have dry patches, it looks really nice. So I definitely wouldn't recommend this if you have dry skin, because honestly, like it is making my dry patches look super bad. When you touch it, yeah, it just wipes right off. Like I gotta go and reapply right there now, because it definitely doesn't, like, it's not like Estee Lauder where it just sets and then you touch it and it doesn't transfer. Like it wipes right off as if it was like a cream. So I don't like that whatsoever. I'm gonna go ahead and put my concealer, my powders that I normally use, and finish it, and then we'll see what it looks like once I come back, because I don't know, this feels like it's just never gonna feel set because it feels so oily right now on my skin, and I hate that feeling. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish with everything that I normally finish with, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, my friends, so I have done all of my makeup. I'm gonna say this, Blending out my contour was a bit of a struggle. I was getting kind of patchy over on this side for some reason. Everywhere else it like blended out really well, but for some reason around here it was weird. My powders went on really well, but as I'm like sitting here, I'm noticing more and more dry flakes that are getting like, they're like getting picked up as I go. I don't know, it's like more are popping up that weren't there before. So it's definitely a clinger for sure. It clings onto those dry flakes. If you have, and I don't even have dry skin. For me to be clinging to dry patches, I'm like, what is going on right now? So I would stay clear if you're dry skin, like don't even bother with this. But it does feel oily, like on my face. Even just sitting here, I can feel that it feels oily. I'm scared to even touch it. Okay, no, it has, I don't want to like scrape it all off. It has set for the most part, so I think I'm okay there. Where I think it is going to transfer throughout the day. I'm just going to have to see. I don't know. I can just tell from like what it feels like right now. I have a feeling it's going to transfer, and I have a feeling I'm going to be really oily. This is a side that I primed with. I can't say it's any better than this side. So honestly, I would scratch the primer. I don't think that you need it. It's not like it moisturized any dry patches, because I've still got dry patches that look all flaky and cruddy. It just feels oilier, and I think it was $14 as well. So it's an extra 15 bucks really that you honestly don't need. I don't think that it's making any kind of difference, but this is only the beginning, so it might be better throughout the day or it might be worse. We'll just have to see what side looks better. This side is not smoother or more pore filled than this side. There's no difference whatsoever as far as the application. So I don't think that made a difference whatsoever, other than just adding extra oil to my face. I think the shade worked out really well. So I will say I've already used up quite a bit. It's hard to see in the camera, but like, I feel like this is gonna go really fast. If you have to have full coverage, this you're gonna go through probably in a month. It's not like you pay this money and then you just need the tiniest little amount and it's like, woof, you know, like you need a lot to get full coverage if that's what you're looking for. I mean, it is $14 though, so it's not like it's $40 like my foundation that I normally use is $42, and then my Giorgio Armani, who even knows how much that is, it's ridiculous. So those are very expensive, and I go through those like every couple of months. So obviously cost effectively it is definitely cheaper than those, but it's still a little pricey for drugstore in my opinion. I believe it's supposed to give you like a natural matte. Let's see, it says sheer to full coverage and a velvety matte finish. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a matte finish at all. If anything, it's kind of like more kind of radiant in my opinion. It definitely did not look matte on me. Even with my powder, like I still definitely have some glow coming through. So I would not say matte in any way. It's just like a very natural kind of like skin-like finish in my opinion. It definitely has a bit of a kind of glow coming through, but it's not super duper glowy, but it's definitely not matte. It's kind of like somewhere in between there on my skin at least. So right now it is 9:59. So I will come back in a few hours, probably after lunch, and see how it's holding up. Because I have to be honest, I don't have high hopes for this lasting very well on my oily skin. But yeah, my skin looks pretty. I'll get up really nice and close so that you guys can see kind of like a better, better angle. So yes, that is what it looks like right off the bat. There's the forehead. And then I'm gonna get really close up so you can see the chin. So there you guys go. We'll see you in a little bit. It is now 3:05. So it's been on for, what time did I show you guys? Was that 10 o'clock, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. It's been on for 5 hours. So I have had to blot once. I had to go get my nails done, and my face when I came back was awfully oily, like really greasy. So I did blot already once. So that was probably maybe like an hour and a half ago. So let's take, oh wow, I am greasy. Yeah, I am so greasy, guys. My forehead is really oily. It's actually, I look quite glowy in the camera, but in real life, I actually look quite oily. Here is really greasy, like right there. I don't know if you guys can tell, it's like really oily. And then Yeah, even like here, like coming down to like the sides of my cheeks, it's oily. My chin is really oily. And the whole entire forehead is oily. This down here still is looking okay. I would definitely have to blot again for sure, but nothing has really moved into, oh, I am seeing a lot of like transferring here where my nose has ran because I literally have a cold that will never end. My nose is still running. It's so annoying. So where I've like gone to like wipe it, you know, with like toilet paper or just kind of go like that, the foundation has worn all off my nose. Can you guys see that? And it also has come off a little bit off of the tip of my nose. So maybe I could just try and like blend. Oh yeah, that's already off. Now I've just ruined it even worse. There we go. I'll just retouch that up. So it definitely does transfer. Like if you are touching your face, it's going to move. It has settled into this wrinkle right here just a little tiny bit. It's just kind of collected. It's also collected into the crease of my mouth, which is a little weird. But other than that, it hasn't really broken apart, but I can't say that it looks good. From far away, I look fine. Like if you just saw me, you'd be like, oh, she looks nice. Then when you get up close, it's like, dang. I don't like it when I'm like nervous to get up close to someone in case they're like, holy moly, did you see that girl's makeup? It was like super bad. That's what the voice is that I imagine when people are being jerks to you. That's the voice. So yeah, it looks fine, but it's just definitely, there's like some situations going on right here. And then that was weird creasing in the mouth. So mainly just this side collected. The nose is definitely not looking cute. Like I need to try and like blend that back out because that's not looking very fresh. It is collecting a little bit under here. I'm noticing it's kind of gathering. It's almost like it's moving away from the chin and gathering into like that area. So I'm gonna say if you are oily, like it's been on for what? What did I say it was? 12, 1, 2, 3? No, it's been 5 hours. It's not terrible. I mean, I've had foundations that have looked worse at this time with oily skin, but it's definitely not my favorite. It's not something that I would reach for on a daily basis because I don't like the fact that it transfers. I don't like it when I'm worried to touch my face in case I'm gonna have a swipe mark. And that is definitely how this foundation is. Like if I went like this right now, I would just wipe it all off on my finger. We're gonna come back in a little bit. I have a movie date with the kids. We're gonna go see Paddington 2. I'll do kind of like a final wrap up at the very end of the night. Sometimes there's foundations where I will not even leave the house. Like I'll be like, you know, I have to redo my makeup because I look so crappy right now. Right now, like if I just blot with some tissue paper or toilet paper, I'll be fine. And I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna have my little movie date with my kids, and then hopefully it will be okay. I'll say, if I were to just look at myself in the mirror right now, I'd think, dang, you're a little glowy, but that's okay. Nothing a little bit of toilet paper can't fix, or blotterazzi, or, you know, blotting paper, whatever it is you use. I just use toilet paper. Yeah, it looks pretty darn good. And my highlight still looks good. Like everything has worn on it very nicely. My blush is still in place. My contour is still in place. My highlight's still in place. So everything looks nice. It's just when you get up close, you're like, okay guys, it is the end of the night, which is why I have my ring light on. I don't normally film with my ring light anymore, just because I really like the natural light better, but it's dark, so I gotta have it on today. It's 10:47. The movie was cute. I cried. I cry at all kids movies. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I always do. But yeah, if you want to see Paddington 2, I would recommend it. It's really cute and slightly emotional, maybe just for me. Oh gosh, oh my goodness, I am so greasy, guys. Like, I don't even know if you can tell in the camera, but I'm so greasy. I haven't touched up since I left earlier to go to the movies. I'm like, it almost looks like I'm dripping sweat right here. Like, it's not even oily at this point. It just looks like Vaseline. My forehead also looks really greasy. It's almost like oh no, I wore a hat earlier, so I do have divots in my head because I was like, what is going wrong with my head right now? My chin looks like I've spilled some kind of like grease from spaghetti on it, but I did not have grease and spaghetti. It's just straight up my oily face. Like when I turn, can you guys see how greasy I am? I literally look like someone poured olive oil, or I just like got out of the shower and I'm soaking wet. Like I'm so oily. It's unbelievable. I will say though, it has actually lasted quite well as far as like staying in place. Like it's still all in place where it should be. I just look like a Vaseline face. Like I'm so greasy, and where I've like wiped my nose a million times with tissue, it's obviously just comes straight off. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you now, like now that it's the end of the night and I don't care if I look ridiculous, how bad it transfers. Do you guys see that? Like, do you see how I just basically wiped it all off? Like it's all on my finger right now. Look at that, straight up like just makeup. Even if I don't do it that much and I just kind of like wipe my face, look, I've just like wiped not only the grease off, but a big old splotch of foundation. Like if I do this, oh look, I have an itch, hold on, boom, foundation gone. Like it just swipes right off. I don't like that. I don't want to have to worry that if I have like a little itch that I'm like completely disrupting my makeup. Like you don't know what's going to go on with it. So I don't like that whatsoever. But I will say that it did last pretty well as far as like not really like moving or collecting in areas. Like everything looks pretty decent except for my nose and the grease. Like the grease is just so bad that I couldn't wear this again just because I cannot deal with the oil. It's not something that I would feel comfortable to like wear all day and then go out to dinner with my friends at night and like I would have to redo my makeup all over again. There's no way that I would go out like with this foundation after it being on for so many hours. So in my opinion, if I have to come back, rewash my face and reapply my makeup to be able to go somewhere in the evening, it's out for me. Like I don't want to have to do that. My normal foundation routine I put on in the morning, it's good until I take it off at night. I don't end up looking like a Vaseline face. Like I have a nice bit of dew to my skin, but it's not like, oh my gosh. And I don't have to worry about like if the kids wipe my face, which happens a lot, or if I'm like, oh, I have a little itch and then boom, there's my foundation. I hate that. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves. So for me, this is a no. I would definitely not repurchase this. I will not be keeping it. And I will probably never wear this foundation again. I do think that it did look pretty on the skin while it was like non-oily. So for the first like couple of hours, it looked really pretty. I think the coverage was really nice as far as like once you build it up. I think that it is a very skin-like foundation, and I was really happy with how my like I'm just gonna call it fake up from now on. My makeup looked today, other than the oil, so, and other than the transferring. It does not oxidize, which is really nice. So I mean, overall it is a good foundation, and I think if you don't have overly oily skin and maybe you just have like normal skin, maybe a little T-zone like oil, you might be okay, but I'm really just oily, and so for me this is just too oily. But definitely go check out Cassie's, see how it worked on her face. Like I said, she's just normal with like a tiny bit of like oil in the T-zone. I'm dying to know how it lasted on her because her skin is oily skin is just really tricky. If you have oily skin, then you know the struggle. Trying to find a foundation that lasts all day, that doesn't make you end up looking like you have slime. Like I feel like a slimy fish. Like that's how I describe it. A slimy little fish that's just come out of the water and it's like gooey. That's how I feel. Primer, one side does not look any different from the other. So I'm just gonna say skip on the primer. You don't need it. Like you really don't need it because this side is not looking any better than this side. So that for me is a waste of money. For oily skin, I would not go with this one. It's just not my favorite. There's foundations out there that last a lot better as far as oil control. But I will say I'm very impressed with the fact that it did not collect or like break apart or go blotchy. It stayed on my face really well. It was just the oil on top of it was just not great. So there's my thoughts. I hope you guys found that helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I'll leave Cassie's link down below so you guys can check out how hers wore on her skin, which is normal. Happy Martin Luther King Day. I hope you guys all had a relaxing day off of work or school, and I'll see you guys back tomorrow. Mwah. Bye.